gentlemen, this is a hard video to do because the work that TNA has done in the last couple of months has been actually really good. But seeing this show, look, Genesis was so-so. Let's be honest. It was so-so. It wasn't a bad show, but it wasn't a great one either. It just wasn't. This show, it's... Oh, crap. Sorry. It is terrible. It's like two people could not decide what they wanted, so they let someone else do it that didn't understand anything about booking and making the storylines work, and it was a mess. That's how I felt. I'm going to talk about the things I did not like. 1. Trevor Lee versus DJZ. No build-up. No characters. No nothing. Yeah, they talked about how DJZ got hurt from last week, but it was nothing. And yeah, it was a ladder match, and it wasn't that bad of a ladder match. But in the end, I felt nothing about this. I didn't care about it. It felt like nothing. Empty. And that pissed me off. Another match that made no sense, and it's due to the fact of open fight night and those briefcases. The Grand Championship might have been defended, but it wasn't because of one of the briefcases. The tag titles could not be defended because of what happened with Jeff, which I felt was dumb. In a sense, it kind of makes some sense. They shouldn't have to do double work, but they should. On a special night, gotta do double work. They should be doing double work. And they weren't. I just felt like Decay versus DCC and a Falls Count Anywhere match really made no sense. Even though Crazy Steve took one hell of a bump going through that table, he took a badass bump. Probably alright. Hopefully he's alright. But in the end, I felt like it didn't really accomplish anything. Yeah, DCC won. They got some credibility. But they don't have the same characters they had before. Look, DCC was unique because they didn't talk. They let the Titantron do their talking. Someone decided somewhere a couple of months ago that this is not working. This is stupid. Make them start talking again. Make it that James Storm should be talking, which wouldn't have been a bad thing. But then Kingston, who sucks talking, started talking. And Bram, who's okay as a talker, but in this case should be a quiet man. He shouldn't say a damn word. Other than to the Rosemary, fuck you, bitch. You're getting what I want. I'm sorry for the cursing, but you get my point. And they just threw that out the window. DCC just sucks now. Sometimes they show a few moments of glimmer of how DCC once was. A non-talking group that covered their faces. They let the Titantron talk for them with a machine voice. It was unique. And it's gone. It just made no sense. The Brandy segment with Rosemary. I know they did something on Facebook. Why couldn't they do something on the website? Oh, I forgot. The website is YouTube now. Why hasn't anyone reformed the website? Putting who's on the roster. Putting a little bit of bios of the people on the roster. They keep talking about Don West and the ShopTNA.com, but they have no interest in reorganizing their freaking website to make it look like every other website that makes sense. People need to know who's on the website. They need to know who James Storm is, because you're going to bring in new people. They need to know who Brandy is. They need to know who the DCC is. They can't. They have to go with what's on the main page that comes from YouTube. It's so stupid. It's crappy. And this makes no sense. We haven't seen Brandy in months. Yeah, she's gone off the train. She needed to. She's still way too green. But in this case, bring her in when Rosemary should be dealing with... calm down. Brooke should be Rosemary's true opponent. Or at least Sienna should be... Or, let's make it really interesting. Why not have Maria deal with Rosemary? Both are very good talkers. Sienna is the muscle for girl power. Why not do that? No, we get Brandy. And I'm not against Brandy. I love me some Brandy, but it makes no sense. And here's the match that I think you're going to be surprised about. Brooke versus Sienna. It was a good match. It wasn't a match of the night. It was a good technical match. The match of the night was Lashley versus Jeff Hardy. And you already know how that ended. So I'm not going to explain it to you. But this was a good match because of two reasons. One, Brooke's gotten a bit better in the ring. Her moves are better. Not great. Better. She still have ring rust. And a lot of it. But at least it wasn't as botchy as it was before. She did pull off some good moves. I do believe that going behind Sienna's back and grabbing her backwards like that, and you'll see the shot in my face or on my side, but it was a good move, even though it was botchy. At least she has begun to improve in the ring. The second thing I felt was good about the match was, be shocked, Madison Rayne. I know you're going to say, what? Are you serious? Madison Rayne sucks. She can't talk for shit. Look, you have to see it in the point of view of what it represents more than what it is. It represents a shift of where male commentators were the only ones who would talk about males and females only. Normally, women very rarely do commentators. Because I know a lot of people are going to get angry at me. That kind of pisses me off, but I understand their reasoning. Look, what this is a shift. What you see is something good, even if the person who's implementing it sucks. Finally, we have a female commentator on a major promotion. Yes, TNA is a major promotion. And it's being done by a former woman's champion, a knockouts champion 4 to 5 times. She has been knockouts 4 times, I think. 4 or 5 times. I can't remember how many. But she is a champion. She is a woman. And now she's learning how to become a commentator next to her husband. And to the Pope, D'Angelo Dinero. Yes, she sucks. She has a long way to go. She's been doing this for maybe 4 or 5 months. But remember, these are tapings. Rarely do you see live shows. If this was live every day like WWE, she would learn very quickly how bad she is. She's doing after the fact. She sees people tell her, she tries to improve. I'm not saying she'll ever become incredibly great, but I am saying that she is trying to improve. Now she's trying to put more of her personality into it. Now when there's a big bump in the ring, she goes, ooh, ow, ooh. Yes, it sounds crappy, but this is what male commentators do. Now she's doing it. Now she's trying to add in her own understanding of wrestling. Yes, she hasn't talked about how painful wrestling moves have been, and I gotta blame Josh Matthews for that, because he's not saying, how does it feel to get into that type of headlock? How does it feel to get into that type of knee lock? Instead of asking her questions, he's not. He's just talking to her. And I feel that's a mistake. But still, seeing that is a woman commentator commentating on women's wrestling. Unless it's Shine, it is all women. And that's an entirely different situation. That promotion generally has women in it and mostly have women commentators. More men than women, but they're not a major promotion. They're minor. Minor. And I'm being really literal about this because they're not on any big network. Anthem's a large network. It's not as big as USA. But still, it's way bigger than what Shine is doing. Or any other women's promotion that have women commentators that is not being seen by everybody. Now the rest of the show pretty much sucked. Well, I'll say at least they are progressing the Braxton Sutter. I don't know what the secret is. It better be big. Because if it's a crappy secret, this is just going to make Allie look bad. And it's going to make Braxton Sutter look bad. It has to be something special. Hopefully it is. But now Laura Van Ness is going to be marrying Braxton Sutter. He's saying no, but if you don't do it, you're not going to get anywhere. It better be a big secret. If it isn't, this sucks. Let's see here. What else? I'm not going to talk much about what happened with Eddie Edwards because we know they're going to do their match eventually. The question is going to be how Davey Rich is going to be involved. So Eddie is not going to be talked about. And Drew Galloway dealing with Rob Risen. I think I said this earlier, but I'm going to say this right now. Seeing Drew as the... I am so glad that he has that grand championship. He actually does make it legal. He does make it feel real. And I'm not against Aaron Rex when he was doing it. But it doesn't feel the same. It just doesn't. And I gotta say, Aaron Rex was so funny. I don't know if I talked about it earlier, because I've already done this video a couple of times due to the fact I had a bad lighting problem. My lights went dead. But when you see well, I'm talking about Braxton Sutter. When you see Aaron Rex and when you see Drew Galloway, you see two talents who are entertaining and can sell things. When it came to Drew Galloway working with his Rob Risen, he made that important. He pretty much said, act like you mean it. Act like you're going to do. And he hits him in the face and he beats his ass in the first round. And he pretty much says, I'm going to defend this everywhere. I'm going to go wherever it takes to show that this is the main title. Better than anyone who's done in recent history. When it comes to Aaron Rex, he shifted from being a good guy to a bad guy to a Liberace type of guy or a classy Freddie Blassie type of guy who is just over the top, way larger than life, kind of fruitcakey, and I'm not being disrespectful with anyone who's gay or lesbian. That is the type of words they used to use back then. A possible person who could be gay or lesbian. Possibly. You don't know if he truly is gay or lesbian. He just acts it. So they say he's a fruitcake. At least that's how I grew up knowing it. I wasn't told that fruitcake means that he's gay. It isn't. It just meant that he could be. And that's getting over to a certain extent with Rockstar Spud. Spud and him doing that little wink, and I think either I put myself in a corner, a picture of them in a corner, or I already got it blown up in my face. I don't know. It's funny. And I do believe it's getting over to a certain extent. Seeing them in the golf cart was funny too. I did enjoy it. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about would be the only part of the show that was the best match of the night. In storyline wise, like I said earlier, Jeff and Lashley was the best technical match. It was a good standard match. I didn't really talk much about it, but it was a good technical match. But this was the only match that was storyline driven. It just was. It makes you wonder what's going to happen with EC3. He had one badass bruise on his side. Oh, that's bad. That is a nasty bruise he took. And he got his ass kicked, but he won. I felt it would have been better for him to lose because it would have given him more sympathy. But he did win and the crowd loved him for it. But then here's where, like I said in the beginning of this review, it made no sense to show. It was like they put this show in the hands of someone who didn't understand what they were doing. For the writing or for the booking. Eli Drake beats the crap out of EC3. Fine, that's alright. But then you got DCC coming out and kicking the ass of Eli Drake, Tyrus, and EC3. Looking dominant, but then it makes no sense why they're looking dominant. The Death Crew Council just does not feel right. As they stand, they had a better chance the way they were before, not talking, very rarely showing their faces, and whenever someone had to talk, it had to be Storm only, and it had to be brief. But now it just makes no sense. This is scatterbrained. I tried to say scatterbrained and I botched it because I'm angry at this. This was stupid. You guys tell me why this wasn't stupid, because it made no sense. I didn't like this show. It made no sense at all, most of this show. And then the ending was just very confusing. It didn't really get anyone over. I mean, many people say, well, the DCC's over now. They beat Decay. Now they beat everybody else up. They're trying to go for power. Then why didn't you beat up the Hardys and interfere with the match with Lashley? Think about it. If you really want to make a mark, beat up Lashley, beat up Jeff, and beat up Matt in the beginning of the show when they were all out there. Beat their asses up, take their titles, and hold it over their heads to show that you really want them. Then at the end of the show, you beat up on those guys. You beat up on EC3, you beat up on Tyrus, and then you beat up Eli Drake. And then it would make better sense. This makes no sense. None. But that's just my point of view. You guys tell me below. I hope you get... I'm still angry at this. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This show pissed me off. It made no sense. Have a good day. Have a good night.